Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special August 26th edition of ADP Chasing. We have just 2 shows left on the calendar, which means at least 2 more Tee Higgins comparisons, 1 more big dog draft, and lots of talk about Luke McCaffrey. Let's do it.
ADP Chasing is for when you watch Ship Chasing, you go, these guys are just football guys.
And the targets per outrun leagues, that's going to be really nice.
Actually, back in if it's Ashane.
Stare into our crystal ball. Close your eyes. All your entries are going to lose anyway.
Yeah, that's fair.
This is a Deuce Vaughn show.
It's anti-cabal. It's the best ball thought leaders. I'm obviously lying to some degree because, I have a lot of both of these guys.
It's the most disgusting pick you can make. But, man. Davis, Pat, just 2 shows left on the calendar for ADP Chasing. We're almost there, almost the regular season. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
I don't have enough time, man.
It sneaks up on you, right? I have so many Best Ball Manias to do. I'm just finishing up a Best Ball Mania right now.
I have 29 left to do.
I am about the same. Yeah, I think I have, let's see. I think I might have exactly 29 now. 29, yeah.
Yeah, I had this pipe dream. I've talked about it many times, but I'm in a state right now where I can't draft an underdog. I'm moving to Boston on Friday, and I have this pipe dream of moving there and doing 120 drafts in 2 days. But I think it's going to fail before I even get there. So I think I might have to be looking
Friday?
at
No,
yeah.
You'll
You might be okay.
If you could tell your wife or partner to leave you be, you could do it. It's not going to be very fun.
It's not going to be pretty. Yeah.
There's a guy in
gotta do it from the
Discord.
active tab.
There's a guy in Pete's Discord who also lives in a banned state. He drove and got a hotel room for a weekend and fast drafted for an entire weekend and just until his eyes bled. He just did fast until his eyes bled. That's basically what you're signing up for.
Yeah, and I mean it's going to be a tough sell to my girlfriend I'm moving in with for the first time as we're unloading the boxes and being like, hey, sorry, I can't help out right now. I got something important to do. That's going to be a tough one, but
you just got to tell her,
dude. You just got to ship it.
top 2, win it. You just got to tell her that Xavier Worthy in the 5th round is like buying Bitcoin in 2014.
Yeah, no, I'm sure I can convince her. Well, anyways, today we got a packed show, so let's dive right into it.
I'm gonna refresh my screen because I got to end this stream and I don't have the controls, so this is a good time as any. So
okay, yeah. As Pat is getting this set up, just for today, quick preview. We're going to be going through risers and fallers of the past week, focusing on the late round targets. Usually we've actually done percentage change in ADP, but we're going to look at raw change in ADP to really pull up some of the late round movers over the past week. And then, so we'll do that for about an hour. At 3:30, going to be hopping in a big dog draft. So for everyone watching who wants to draft against us, try to join a lobby around then. But yeah, let's start today diving right into the largest raw ADP risers of the past week. Number 1 here, Bo Nix is up 15 spots off of news that he is going to be the starter in week 1. Start with you, Davis. What are your takes on Bo Nix at 185 ADP?
Still a good pick. I mean, I kind of expected him to be the 17-week starter anyways. So this is not changing. The only thing it changed for me is where I take Bo Nix. Whereas Bo Nix used to be, oh, nice. I can just sit around 17, 18. I can do Bo Nix and Greg Dulcich or Bo Nix and Marvin Mims or Bo Nix and Troy Franklin or whatever. Now I'm like, oh, well, I'll just take him 15, 16 and then figure it out later. Already twice today, I've done Bo Nix and Drake May 15, 16 to set up the 3 quarterback room. And then, I'll take Bourne, I'll take Mims, I'll take Dulcich, I'll take Estime, whatever ends up happening. And that feels like a pretty optimal way to end Best Ball Mania season, is just to get a bunch more of Nix and May teams there at the end.
I've been taking a lot less Nix recently because I'm not taking Mims, I'm not taking Franklin, and I've never really taken that much Sutton. I don't really take Dulcich. I do draft the running backs.
He's fine with the running backs. I think
he is fine with the running backs. Yeah.
Maybe even for our thesis of how the Denver Broncos work in 2024, might even be optimal, where they're rotating the wide receivers a ton. They have hyper-specific roles. None of them, other than Sutton, have route participation over 70%. Whereas we know or we don't know, but we are projecting him to be an incredibly efficient passer to the running backs.
Yeah. And I also think in maybe more of a DraftKings take, but I think both Tim Patrick and Josh Reynolds are actually okay on draft. I mean, 20th round DraftKings gets so ugly. I get they're boring picks, but probably not taking those guys an underdog, but I think you can play it with those like super late guys as well if you want to.
Yeah, I think on DraftKings, I really have trouble clicking either guy. There's like some boring veteran guys that I'm okay with. Patrick, I guess, has a case because no one was really drafting before. Reynolds,
yeah, I mean, only stacked with Knicks. I'm saying obviously
only stacked with Knicks.
Yeah.
Well,
Reynolds has the same, but he might be their slot, and he's not good.
His Achilles already hurts. Like it's August 26th, and we already got the first Patrick battling through wear and tear on his Achilles. Like I think Patrick is like kind of the ultimate week 1 brain, and Troy Franklin is now the ultimate week 17 brain pick.
I agree, but I also don't know that we can really take Franklin anymore because he's so buried.
No, he's like unclickable, but you can get Mims in round 18 now. Like I just did it. I just took a Marvin Mims round 18.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, the Mims stuff to me seems. I mean, we'll jump to this. Well. Yeah, let's jump to the wide receivers here. We're already there. Patrick is up 12 spots from undrafted to now like kind of a routine 18th round pick and underdog. Mims is down 10 spots. I guess like I still think. It's like both of them feel really uncomfortable. I'd almost rather take Franklin than Mims. Like Mims is now the second year guy that is buried on the depth chart. Like I interpret that almost worse than the rookie that's buried on the depth chart. I do think Mims has some like rotational deep threat role week 1, but man, he looks like wide receiver 5, like 4 if you're being generous in the depth chart right now. That's not a place you want a second year wide receiver with second round draft capital to be. So I've really struggled with him. I guess 18th round, you can't really, hate on any pick too hard. I've really struggled though with Mims now.
No, I mean, you definitely, we should be hating on each other's 18th round picks actively. I guess it's just the way I play the game, honestly. Like I'm just like really never betting on the 29-year-old coming off of back-to-back catastrophic season-ending lower body injuries versus the young guy who is an elite analytical prospect, very good athletic profile, like who I think can play. Like maybe it's like a total slappy pick. I just can't really bring myself to click Patrick over Mims. Like in this exact, like on a
this is the choice you have. Yeah. Basically.
On a non-Knicks team, I'm not clicking either one of them, but on a Knicks team, I'm still taking Mims.
If we want to dabble with a little truth serum, I still think Franklin is the most intriguing guy in this room. I am not drafting Franklin anymore. And maybe I'm just bag defending the shares that I had. But like, if any of these guys emerges down the stretch, ends up mattering in the playoffs, I still think Franklin, like as far as mattering goes, is the most intriguing just because of that Bo Nix connection. Now we know we're going to get 17 games. If he gets out there, maybe they still have that connection with Morgan.
A galaxy brain take on top of that. Nix is him. The Broncos get off to like an unexpectedly hot start. Could be anything. Could be they just get really lucky, some turnover, whatever it is. But they get off to a hot start. Nix and Peyton have their quarterback meeting on a Tuesday. It's week 7. And Nix goes, enough of this Josh Reynolds shit. We have 4 wins already. I want to play with my guy.
Let's get my guy out on the field.
Yeah.
Jaleel McLaughlin also says Franklin's a hard worker, and no one works harder than Jaleel McLaughlin. So there's been only negative news on Franklin the entire summer, but Jaleel likes him. So that's helpful.
Yeah. We'll get to this later. I dug into some of the preseason data. Troy Franklin has like by far the worst preseason stats of like any wide receiver in the preseason this year. Like
you know what? Cannot be worse than Brennan Rice, to be honest.
Are you looking at like saying like what he did as opposed to when he played, what he did when playing?
Yeah, what he did when on the field. He has a 4.9% targets per route run on 41 routes. That's Brendan Rice is down there too, Davis, but that's even worse than Brendan Rice. Like that's again, this preseason stuff, we'll have that conversation later. It's not like the end all be all, but the Troy Franklin, when he's been on the field against like accountants in the fourth quarter, has not been getting thrown the ball. So that doesn't seem great.
Honestly, I don't. The preseason is we take a look at these guys to me. What do you see? the targets per route run on Troy. We know he's buried. I think at a certain point you're just kind of just reminding yourself that he's buried.
Yeah. Anyways, on Patrick, I did have one thing I wanted to get to quickly on Tim Patrick. So look at the last 2 seasons played for Tim Patrick. You can kind of paint a story where he looks a little bit better than our perceptions might say. A 70% targets per route run, 1.6 yards per route run. That looks very similar to a player who currently goes in the 4th round. So I don't know, Davis, do you have any guesses on who this mystery wide receiver here might be?
Is that Terry McLaurin?
No, close, very close.
Zay Flowers.
Are there any other JV quarterbacks in the league? I mean, why did you even blur it out?
Jake Browning?
It could be Jake Browning. It could be Joe Burrow. It could be...
Yeah, it really could be anyone. This is now... Yeah. Do we factor in the context that he hasn't played, as Kevin said, since the Eisenhower administration? Does that matter?
Doesn't feel that relevant.
It doesn't.
Oh, Jacoby Brissett. Although Kevin, I don't know if he counts anymore.
Yeah, I heard Jacoby Brissett is getting traded for a conditional 5th round pick to the Minnesota Vikings.
Ooh, that'd be sweet.
This is totally unrelated, but I want to say this on a show before I forget it. Mike White getting released by the Miami Dolphins, low-key so bullish for Justin Jefferson.
What?
Instead of Jaron Hall as the backup quarterback.
But have they signed Mike White?
Well, they could now.
Oh man, that one hurt my brain.
Bullish for Davante Adams and anybody.
Bullish for every wide receiver.
It could definitely be bullish. It could definitely be bullish for Davante Adams.
Yeah.
Should probably wait until Mike White signs before boosting any of these wide receivers.
I just wanted it out there. That's all. I just wanted it out there.
It's out there.
Let's get to moving on from the mystery wide receiver was Tee Higgins for people who
not familiar with this.
If you've never watched ADP chasing before.
Yeah, so Tim Patrick's basically just Tee Higgins.
And subscribe, please, if you don't know who that player was.
Please like and subscribe. Yeah. Moving on, the Jahan Dotson trade. I wanted to get to the fallout from that. We have both Luke McCaffrey and De'Ami Brown, Pat's number 1 ranked dynasty wide receiver, up around in ADP, and Jahan Dotson is down nearly a full round off of this trade. Yeah, I know, Pat, you own 100% De'Ami Brown in dynasty, so let's hear the bull case.
He was free once upon a time.
No, I went down with the ship. With you on that one, whatever that year was. I drafted so much.
It was the year Amon-Ra was not going that far ahead of him.
Oh, God.
So, yeah.
Yikes. Yeah. Okay, like and subscribe to the show again.
Like and subscribe. We've never had any misses. I don't know. I'm not really doing the De'Ami Brown thing.
No shot.
He's just not been good at all. Olamide Zaccheaus might be the guy instead of him. I just don't. We don't really stand to win anything here, and there's also a low floor. So it just doesn't really make sense to me. I think if you're interested in chasing targets in this offense, and there will be volume in this offense, even though Daniels is going to run a lot, they're going to run a lot of plays in total. So there's going to be offense here. I think, McLaurin, honestly, is a pretty decent pick, although you kind of, this Ayuk thing, now there's like a little bit of nervousness there, but if you're looking at non-McLaurin ways to play it, to me, it's Eckler, who's still pretty cheap.
Pretty free.
Yeah. I was not planning on being
40,
overweight.
RB 40 for Austin Eckler.
I'm at like 9% in Best Ball Mania, which I didn't realize. Yeah. I thought I was fading him, and I'm like, oh, I guess I've just been scooping him so much, I'm actually overweight. And then the other way, and, it's really gross, but Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz is completely free.
Yeah. What about Luke McCaffrey though? Come on. Can we get excited about
can we please be serious on this program for 3 minutes? Like, the people who are right now buying into August 26th reports that Luke McCaffrey is behind Olamide Zaccheaus and Jamison Crowder on the depth chart is the most chronic case of week 1 brain in the history of fantasy football. We've done Jamison Crowder for like every team in the AFC East. We've done it already. We've seen it. Jamison Crowder was in this Bills wide receiver room last year, and people were unironically being like, aren't you worried about Jamison Crowder? Luke McCaffrey by week 4 is going to have 71% route participation for the Washington Commanders and is going to look good on those routes.
Non-derogatory, that's fair, because I don't, the bar is very low for what he's got to do. I will note though that he's not a good prospect, and we're
certain point of view. I'm invoking certain point of view here.
So the guy that is literally 50% genetically Christian McCaffrey is a bad prospect. All right.
Well, I recently have taken an L on 50% genetically of a prospect, so I don't know if I'm going to take that one. In my opinion, based on the way his college career went out, he was recruited as a quarterback to Nebraska. He was a very bad quarterback. He played pretty well like 6 months after changing positions, and then played quite well his final season at Rice. And I mean, like, not that I am a scout or anything. He looked all right to me. I mean, he didn't look like the next Cooper Kupp or anything like that. Or like, no. I think he's fine. I think
the play all along has been Hunter Renfrow, who was also a horrible prospect. But Hunter Renfrow was part of that Clemson team. He like
runs good routes.
He runs good routes. Like, yeah, these like undersized slot receiver guys who run good routes, kind of heady players or whatever. Like, sometimes they just have really bad prospects.
I feel like you're underselling the athleticism is the major difference between him and Hunter Renfrow, though. Like, Luke McCaffrey is like legitimately like a 9.9 RAS guy. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I guess I just see a little bit more of, obviously, like, I see a little bit more yak potential in Luke McCaffrey. Well,
compare him to his other brother, Max, who was not a good RAS guy, who was the other McCaffrey, who was not a good RAS guy. He got a chance to play for the 49ers and was bad.
Well, hang on, because Luke is 50% him too.
Oh, shit.
I already said we drafted that. I want to highlight Benny's comment. Viewed through his 23andMe profile, he's a good prospect.
Those are analytics. I mean, that's
that should have made the Best Ball Bros video. This somehow he needs to re-edit it and get
that in. Yeah.
I've made. I mean, I've got like 15% Luke McCaffrey, and I'm taking more. I think it's a very good bet to make. And really what it is it's a bet on Daniels, and it's also a bet on Cliff, because what does Cliff want to do? He wants to run the horizontal raid. He wants to stick Terry McLaurin out on the left, have him never move, and have him try and beat corners that are way better than him, respectfully to Terry McLaurin. I know the Ohio State bias that we have here in the fantasy football community, but I'm comfortable with this bet on Luke McCaffrey, and if I lose, I was going to lose anyway.
Yeah, I mean, Cliff Kingsbury looks at Luke McCaffrey and he sees non-toddler size Rondale Moore, and that's pretty exciting to him.
Yep.
Well, you know what but that Rondale Moore is actually kind of the point, I think, a little bit. Cliff Kingsbury loves nothing more than ruining a slot receiver that we drafted. Andy Isabella, Rondale Moore. I mean, that's his whole deal.
Isabella is actually a very good comp where the production profile was very weird and back-weighted, although obviously more athletic than Isabella. That's a pretty good comp to how he basically just ends up not running enough routes.
Yeah, my concern with McCaffrey is kind of based on like his whole thing is that he should, if he's the guy who we want him to be, which is this dude who, is just like kind of able to get open and plays exclusively out of the slot. I was hoping he would get that role locked down, that he would like emerge. This is a team that just traded Jahan Dotson, but it doesn't seem like it's because McCaffrey forced that issue. They're just like, this dude isn't it. He's not our number 2.
Well, go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I have heard some rumblings that part of the reason of the Dotson trade is they felt good about McCaffrey and Zacchaeus. Okay. So I don't know. I think that like it has to be at least part of it. They took a slot wide receiver in the 3rd round. They tried out Dotson at slot wide receiver and then traded him. Like, I don't know. I do agree the preseason usage, you can't kind of talk around that. He certainly was buried if you just look at the depth chart there, but I feel like that has to be at least part of the reason they trade Dotson, right? Like, unless they're really serious about this Zacchaeus Crowder stuff. I mean, that seems crazy to me, though.
Yeah, I don't know that it does have to be, because this is a new coaching staff. You know, they come in and they take a look at this guy and they're like, and, you know, Dotson was a very overdrafted prospect and he had a pretty inefficient rookie season outside of touchdowns. And then he bombs in his second season. So it's not like, it shouldn't be shocking that a coaching staff comes in and doesn't think he's good. And it didn't seem like, as this was happening, that it really was related to McCaffrey. I mean, their stance on McCaffrey was basically that he exists. I have 11% McCaffrey and I haven't drafted him in like 3 weeks. So I was pretty in. This is more me kind of saying, like, if I'm going to get talked back into McCaffrey, I want to like make sure we're not just kind of like, we were excited about him earlier, and this definitely has opened up additional targets, but it has not been a great offseason.
If I could bud my own bags here, which I will do, I will be fair and balanced. These are some of the wide receivers who were getting routes over Rondale Moore in Arizona while Cliff was his coach. Antoine Wesley, Andre Bacalia, Zach Pascal. There was a couple other ones who were just like really bad. Robbie Chosen, Pharaoh Cooper. Like they were actively trying to find ways to not give Rondale full routes, which would mean just because we think Olamide Zacchaeus is a 0 and he will receive no targets, like Olamide Zacchaeus could run every route and probably not be fantasy relevant. But you know, kind of it's the same. It's the sacrificial X wide receiver take.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what ends up happening. Luke just loses snaps to any warm body effectively.
I just have a really hard time believing that you tell me it's week 8 and McCaffrey. I mean, again, there's 3 wide receivers on the field in Cliff's system. McLaurin's guaranteed to be one of them, and he can't beat out 2 out of 3 of Diami Brown, Olamide Zacchaeus, and Jamison Crowder. Like, to me, I agree with your original take, Davis, that it feels like week 1 brain to me. Like, I'm not really worried about the role over the second half of the season. I think he's going to get a chance. Now, maybe he's just so bad and can't do it. Sure, but I think this is like, I don't know. We talked about the Chargers being the most wide open depth chart in the NFL at wide receiver. I think this Commanders team now without Dotson, I mean, really
they don't
ugly.
even have, like, I was looking at their depth chart being like, maybe they have some prospect I forgot about from 3 years ago who's like vaguely interesting, and they don't.
Diami Brown.
Yeah. I mean,
doesn't really count.
Diami Brown, I didn't like as a prospect. I didn't like as an NFL. Like, I just think he's ass.
He's been terrible. You guys, I'm back in. I think your arguments are stronger than mine. We should probably just throw out. I mean, I was actually looking. He didn't play in the final preseason game either, so maybe quietly he has solidified the role. And to your point about week 1, Brain, we don't need him to have that role out of the gate. We just need him to earn it down the stretch. And this competition is so weak that we should be back in.
The chat is maybe rightfully pointing out that if Ertz is healthy, maybe Sinnott, or actually maybe Sinnott plays in line because he's such a good blocker, and Ertz is actually kind of the primary slot guy to start the year. It's totally possible.
I think Ertz is very draftable now, especially if you're doing
some of us have been
drafting the whole time.
Some of us have been trying to escape the specter of Zach Ertz in their portfolio this entire time. I mean, I got if you include my big board stuff, I've got to be like higher on Zach Ertz than Julie Ertz, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I mean, I'm not doing it a lot, but there's certain builds where you're like, I really could use this guy, producing in the early part of the season.
How about a Brock Bowers team?
How
about Ertz and Bowers?
Yeah.
The last thing I'll say,
Robert Woods. That's a good comp.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say on McCaffrey, he did have rushing production in college. I think that's a little bit of underrated part of his profile. Both when he was a quarterback at Nebraska, he had rushing production. And then even as a wide receiver at Rice, he had over 100 rushing yards both of his years as a receiver there. So again, that's just like another, if you get the Jaden Reed, like scammy, rushing touchdown, whatever, that can be really helpful as an 18th round pick as well. Let's move on here to Kimani Vidal. I know we talked about him last week, but to me, he stands out as one of the best picks at his new price of 186, which was down from, the 150s earlier in the offseason. Curious, Pat, where you guys stand on him now with a little bit more certainty that he's going to make the roster. Although I guess that's not 100% official yet.
Yeah, we were pretty in on Vidal at one point. Like, it's been a weird offseason because I was out at, the 160s price, and then I got in around there, and then in the 150s I was in, and then we got he might not make the roster, and we're just like, not taking this dude. He fell a ton. Now we're back in. I am taking him. He's going like in the 15th, 16th now, and I think it's okay. I mean, it's a big swing. It's a low floor, really low floor bet, but Gus Edwards and Dobbins coming off an Achilles, like as long as he's getting a chance to be the third back in that rotation, I think he really could earn pretty significant volume over the course of the season. And we know they want to run the ball a lot. So yeah, I think, he'll probably steam back up all the way to the 150s again. And
I'm like all the way back in.
I'm all the way in.
I just took him in the 14th round on one. I'm also taking Dobbins too. I think you can take them together.
You can take them together for sure.
You do the Galaxy brain. Dobbins starts for the first 8 weeks, suffers another catastrophic lower body injury, and then Vidal closes the season. Patterson, I think, is like just active for special teams. Sounds like he's probably going to make the roster, and they're probably going to keep 4 guys. But Vidal is actually like a great answer for like something that Sean talks about a lot is like who's the sort of story of the season style guys. And you could totally tell me Chargers win 10 games. They're super efficient running the ball, and Vidal scores like 19.1 half PPR points in the back half of the season.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense to me. And yeah, I had this take on Twitter that people hated, which happens with a lot of my tweets. But
why is that, Sam?
What's going on here? But I compared him to Jalen Wright, of which there's like a 40 pick ADP gap. They're both like pretty clearly depth chart wise, the RB3 on their teams. Actually, Jalen Wright's the RB4 behind Jeff Wilson, but no one wants to talk about that. But one of them has a very clear and obvious chance to emerge as a starter without injuries in front of them. And the other, like even the biggest Jalen Wright Galaxy brainers, I don't think are saying he's going to steal the job from Devin A-Chain if A-Chain's healthy. So to me, that's just like, and I don't even think Wright is a bad pick anymore. I've kind of come around on that, but I think Kimani Vidal should be going way higher than 180 at this point. Like, give me him over Chuba Hubbard. Give me him over Ray Davis, Braylon Allen. I get those other guys are maybe more clearly RB2 on their teams, but they're behind much more entrenched starters. This just feels like, unless we get the news tomorrow that he hasn't made the team, in which case that'd be very bad for me. As long as he makes the team, this seems like such a home run bet on uncertainty. My chips are all in on the Vidal thing.
We are so here for best ball season. 10 days away from the start of the season. We're like, if this guy is on the active roster, he is just an absolute jam.
And that's the problem, is that we still don't have that.
Well, we're gonna know in 24 hours.
We're gonna know in 24 hours, yeah. And I'm drafting like he's gonna be.
I'm drafting. You guys
are making me more excited for sure.
Yeah, I'm drafting like it's done. And by the way, when it is done, it's going to turn into how guys start treating these 0 RB guys in the main event, Pat.
100%.
Where it's like Kimani Vidal is going to go in the 9th round in like the last Best Ball Mania draft that happens or whatever.
Yeah.
We haven't really had one of those guys like a Dameon Pierce that just rises and rises and rises. But,
it's been Chase Brown. And the only thing that has kept it in touch is that the beats will be like, it's all Chase Brown. And then the next day, another beat will be like, Zach Moss looks pretty good. Like if the beats had gone really hard on Chase Brown as the clear starter, he would have gotten up to that range in the 7th round, like the James Conner, Najee Harris range.
Yeah,
that's true.
Last thing I'll say on Vidal, the tape knowers watching the preseason were just talking about how the Chargers offensive line was just absolutely bullying defenders out there. I mean, Joe Alt, JC Latham, Will Dissly as a blocking tight end is like one of the best blocking tight ends in the league. Like this, I'm really excited for this Chargers offense overall compared to market. Like, again, people on Twitter were saying, oh, it's because, one guy's in the Dolphins and one guy's in the Chargers. Like, the Chargers are going to suck this year. I don't think the Chargers are going to suck this year. Like, Greg Roman can scheme up a hell of a rushing offense with the talent they have there. I think this is going to be an exciting place for
Harbaugh
RB
teams
production.
always win. They always win.
Yeah.
It's just a fact. And the other thing is, I also want this take to like officially be on the record, which is that there's just this idea that the Chargers are going to be this insanely plotting run heavy team, and they're going to tilt more run heavy than we want because of Roman. I don't think that's a Harbaugh thing. Harbaugh wants to win games, and I think Harbaugh and even Roman to some extent are smart enough to like look at their team and be like, Herbert is a Ferrari, and you don't leave the Ferrari in the garage. Like, they're going to have some cool stuff for him to do. And I mean, obviously I could eat all these words if like the foot injury is a bigger deal and if the wide receivers, like if this is like the situation I always think of is Brady at the end of his career with the Patriots, where like he just everything looked so difficult for him. Or Rodgers the last year in Green Bay, where like sure they were winning games, but it was just a brutal slog. And maybe that could happen if the wide receivers are really that bad. But like any kind of breakout from the pass catchers, and I think the offense could be like the 11th best offense in the NFL, even though the ADP suggests they will not be at all.
Yeah, I've been drafting a bunch of Herbert. I mean, part of it is that I do take so much Drake May, and that helps me get onto that stack. But I have a bunch of McConkey, I have a bunch of Herbert. I'm drafting these running backs. I just think like one of the things that I try to think through is when we get to the end of the season, what are we going to like regret? What are we going to have like trouble defending to ourselves? And one of the things that just kind of I keep coming back to is like, we are going to have trouble defending to ourselves that a top 5 real life quarterback was getting drafted this late.
Exactly. It's literally exactly it.
Yeah. It's just, I'm 100% with you on that. We're double, triple, quadruple counting this
a
Greg
top 5
Roman
quarterback
thing.
who might run a little bit more than
might
he
run
ever
a little
has
bit
before.
Behind an elite offensive line. Like the weapons aren't great, but like, I don't know, like, didn't we like we just saw it with Mahomes, you can get there even without weapons, it's possible. Obviously Herbert's not as good as Mahomes.
Well, Mahomes didn't. The thing is Mahomes was a bad pick in fantasy last year.
He wouldn't have been in the 14th round at 140 or whatever.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have been like,
okay.
I guess 13th round, but whatever. Yeah. I mean, I think we have more than priced in this Herbert stuff. Like it's kind of crazy. I guess he goes 12th round, by the way.
Yeah. Moving on here to Jalen Tolbert. He's a guy we touched on early in the offseason. Haven't chatted through him much recently. He's been kind of steadily rising. He's now up to 166 in ADP from basically being an 18th round flyer just a month ago. Start with you, Davis. Are you interested at all at Jalen Tolbert, who, by the reports, seems to have locked down the Cowboys wide receiver 3 job?
Yeah, I'm taking him in the 140s. I don't care. He's gonna get more targets than Brandon Cooks. Wow. There are 2 things here. The first one being anything I read by Sean, I just don't have the ability to not be swayed by it. Like, I don't know. It's just something about the way he writes. And he wrote this like long diatribe for Jalen Tolbert, like a 7,000 word article about Jalen Tolbert. But the data-based arguments were convincing to basically say this profile of player is not dead the way you might think a third-year player like this might be dead. Like, there are guys in this cohort who have done well. But the more important thing to me was that Dak seems very excited about Jalen Tolbert, that they worked out together all offseason together. Tolbert basically lives in Dak's neighborhood and would just come out, and Dak has this very cool practice field installed in his backyard. And Dak was basically like, every offseason I work with a guy and that guy has a good year. Last year it was Lamb. The year before it was Dalton Schultz. He also mentioned Jalen Brooks, which maybe is a reason to not be as convinced by this, but it worked on me. So I am taking a lot of Jalen Tolbert.
Yeah, I just haven't been able to get on board. He just hasn't been good.
He's been bad.
He's been really bad. And it's one thing to say, hey, this guy.
Next to Tee Higgins.
Yeah, seriously. It's one thing if we're going like, hey man, like this guy just has had an incredible offseason, and people still just aren't drafting him, which is what happened, with Puka last year. Like, he was just available in the late rounds the whole summer. That's, you got to get on board with that type of thing. But as the price rises, I think we should be more skeptical of what we're really getting ourselves into. And I just flash once at the NFL level if I'm gonna take you, in the top 170. Like, I don't know. He's not completely free anymore. And there's guys in that range that I like. So I really haven't taken him in a long time.
Who do you like in the 160s that
Drake
you
May.
are? Okay, well, that's fair. Not non-derogatory. Non-derogatory. That's fair.
I mean, I do that's where I take
Okay,
Hunter Henry, Demario Douglas. Like, that's where I do a lot of my Patriots
Basically,
stuff.
if you're not a Patriots player past 160,
Yeah.
that's
Alright.
not taking you.
Yeah.
Key point here.
No
This
fan.
is also I'm trying to embrace vibes-based drafting a little bit more this year. Like, avoid situation where the vibes are really bad and try and be ahead of situations where the vibes are good. And the vibes on Tolbert have been all good. Like,
They're good. They're good
this
vibes.
panic that you get. I mean, you guys do a lot of these shows on YouTube. What always happens when you start talking about the Cowboys in the comments? It's always Dak sucks. They're gonna crater. They have the worst running backs in the NFL. They're gonna be awful. They're gonna finish last in the NFC East. No one involved in the Cowboys situation seems to feel that pressed. Dak doesn't feel that pressed. They get the deal done with CD. It's like no one's really seeming scared for their jobs. Like, it's like pretty much, yeah, we're gonna win 11 games and we're gonna be fine. And that seems pretty good for Jalen Tolbert for me. Is that they understand this is their skill position room. They're, by the way, and every backup for him was playing like deep into like Ryan Flournoy is catching passes from Trey Lance in the third quarter of preseason games. I'm not saying like Jalen Tolbert is not like my favorite pick on the board or anything, but I think he is a good pick, and I am taking him even at this increased cost.
The context around him getting on the field last year is still concerning to me. Like,
Yeah,
he couldn't pass Michael Gallup. He got to about 50% route participation, and Gallup got down to about 50%. And then Gallup is off the team and retires. Like, come on. Like that, like I don't think Cooks is dead as it goes, if we're talking about can he be the number 3 on the team, assuming Ferguson could be the number 2, which I think he can. And that's obviously how we're drafting it. So that's part of it too. Like, I don't like Cooks at ADP at all.
That's so really, to me, it is so much about being like, I don't want to take Brandon Cooks, and like, I think Brandon Cooks might be the next Cowboys wide receiver to retire in the offseason.
Sure.
I'll say this is the most damning thing I can imagine for Jalen Tolbert. The Dallas Cowboys lose a playoff game 48-32. Dak Prescott attempts 60 passes. Jalen Tolbert goes 0-0-0 stat line. So that right there, I mean,
that's rough, man. That's really rough.
Really bad. Yeah.
Like, how many times did he work out with Dak in the offseason? Was it every day? If he skipped a day, I think I'm out.
Yeah, I think I'm somewhat in the middle of you guys. I'm closer to Pat than to Davis on the Tolbert fade, but
well,
yeah, I feel like I'm going to be.
I might have just anti-Tolberted myself. To be honest.
Yeah, I just feel like I'm going to be wrong about one of these Cowboys because I'm obviously taking CD when I have a chance to. I'm not taking Cooks. I'm not taking Tolbert. I'm not taking stabs on any of the Flournoy, Brooks, Turpin guys. And like, mathematically, that has to be wrong. There's so much volume here. I don't know though. It just feels like to me like
it doesn't have to be wrong because it could be classic Chiefs. It could be two guys get all the production. Rico Dowdle has a good season, and a bunch of dudes, like 5 dudes, catch 20 passes. That you tell me Flournoy, Jalen Cropper, Jalen Tolbert, Luke Schoonmaker, and Zeke can't all catch 20 passes. Like that can definitely
happen. The Jalen Cropper guy, did you make that up or is that a real?
No, that's real.
Person?
There's Jalen Cropper, Jalen Brooks, and Jalen Tolbert.
Yeah, Brooks mattering like even a tiny bit immediately makes all of these guys way thinner.
Turpin's probably like a schemed like the Cowboys
he's
version of
he's
Kadarius
Hardman.
Toney.
He's Hardman in this equation.
Yeah, he's Hardman or Tony. Yeah. It has made me more excited. The more I think about it, the more I think I'm in on the Jake Ferguson breakout bet. Again, he basically
it makes me want to take more Ferguson.
Yeah, he basically had the same stats as Dalton Kincaid last year. Actually, like slightly better than Kincaid in some things. And I feel like you're getting zero of the breakout. Like everyone just sees him as like a boring veteran, but he's what, 25 years? He's like the same age as Kincaid. And anyways, I just think the Ferguson breakout thing is like a little underpriced. Maybe he's the guy that takes it.
I got talked out of him. I got bullied early in the offseason. Jacob
How do I
Sanderson,
take him over
Ben
Powers
Gretsch.
though? This is
That's
thing.
the problem is I don't want to take it.
Bauer?
Yeah. I've been taking both. Like I get a lot of Bauer, so I'm not worried if I occasionally.
If you get if you do the CD at the 1-2 turn, you can do Dak Ferguson at 8-9, which is nice.
Yeah. Let's move on here to last riser. We have to talk about Jordan Whittington. He's up 6 spots purely because Puka Nacua existed last year. And Demarcus Robinson is down 7 spots. I'm actually more bullish on Whittington than that, but I'll give you the floor.
Pretty solid.
Yeah, I'll give you the floor, Davis.
This is so funny though. If Jordan Whittington was on literally any other team, any of the other 31 NFL teams, he does not get drafted.
It's a little bit true.
It's 100% true. People love to pattern match. Best ball drafters love to pattern match. It's like kind of what we, and I mean, it does serve us well, obviously. But
some of the patterns actually end up matching.
Some of the pattern matching absolutely matters. So I'm not even.
Yeah.
I am not like I think I have only taken Whittington when I have Stafford or a Cardinals thing.
Yeah.
I don't think he's like he's not like I prefer like Malik Washington in round 18, like agnostic to these spots because I think Malik Washington has legit Puka outs. Whereas I don't like Whittington was just not a good prospect.
I think they're pretty comparable in that they're both. There's not that much target competition. I'm still very angry at myself for not being all in on Puka last year because in addition to everything else, like he just was set up to score points right out of the gate.
Well, you shouldn't be as mad as I am because I had 25% of Tutu Atwell when those all could have been Puka teams. I cost myself $3 million.
I was taking Tutu as well. Yeah,
I switched to Puka over Tutu, but it was like way too late. It was like the last 2 weeks or something. When I think he was rested even before that, so that was just a miss.
The key point here though is just that the market is obviously admitting that they were so wrong to chase Robinson up to begin with, and it's like all we needed is one 5-year prospect who couldn't stay healthy for more than 3 games in a row at the University of Texas, Austin. Is immediately making us worried about Demarcus Robinson. Well,
if we're pattern matching last year's rookie wide receiver results, I think it's maybe more similar to like Tank Dell, where we're
and Robinson is the Woods, Mechie.
Yeah. Robinson's our Woods or Mechie. Yeah, like it's not that there's just like so many targets available. You're hoping the offense is really really good, and he's a part of that. So I don't know. I am taking a little bit of him. Correlated with Stafford. He hadn't been drafted early in like at all in early drafts. So in Best Ball Mania, I do think he's a little bit of a leverage play. Not like an amazing pick, but I think, don't feel bad if you're mixing him in. I think he's totally fine.
I don't think Whittington is a bad pick. I don't think he's a good pick. The only thing I'm certain of is that Demarcus Robinson is a bad pick.
I am pretty certain of that too. Yeah. I did want to get to a little bit of the preseason stuff, and we'll get back to Whittington here. Kevin Cole did some great research last year. He looked into preseason metrics across all positions and found that preseason target earning, which he looked at targets per route to measure this, he showed that did have signal for rookie wide receivers. Not a huge signal, but any type of signal in fantasy football is something we should pay attention to. I wanted to look into this year's rookie class for targets per route run. Again, we have
you should tweet this. This is good. This is cool shit.
I'll definitely do some engagement farming here, but I separated this on the right hand
like
side.
Small sample and tiny sample.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
really good.
Yeah, small sample and tiny sample. So the guys on the left in like the lighter red and lighter green, these are like minuscule samples. So
they only played. These guys only played with the starters, so that we're talking about like 20 snaps or something.
Exactly. So like Xavier Legette earning 1 target on 10 routes. It's hard to say that matters that much, but I think once you get to, Jordan Whittington, he leads the entire rookie class in targets per route run in the preseason. He had like a game and a half's worth of routes and had a 37% targets per route run. Like that's a data point that I think we can actually put some weight into. And if you watch the games as well, he looked pretty good. But yeah, other guys that pop here, McMillan and Worthy on smaller samples look pretty good. Adonai Mitchell also does. And then, Casey Washington.
Someone
Baker
do
looks pretty good here.
Someone do the yelling swan meme with small sample target dominators for Casey Washington, and then ask for how many receptions he got on those, because he got targeted. He got targeted. I've been following the Casey Washington stuff very closely because the Falcons beat writer invoked the name of Puka Nacua in his like training camp report. So I was like, is there anything going on here? And I watched him play, and I came away thinking, no, there's nothing.
His like yards for his targets per route run is like 30%, and his yards per route run is like 0.5 or something. It's like that
top left thing though is so indicative. It's like what we already believe. We're like, those 4 players are just good and can play, so that makes sense.
The Mitchell, I mean, this again, it's like maybe a game's worth of routes for Mitchell. Like 25 routes is like
the pencil pushers, man.
Yeah,
pencil pushers are gonna eat it on AD Mitchell the same way they ate it on Pickens.
I'm just leaving every draft with AD Mitchell now.
As a pencil pusher,
I know.
I would like to push say back on Pickens. No, I'm just in. I'm in on Mitchell.
Well, you're not a full pencil pusher. You know ball. You know ball.
Well, I appreciate that, but I do push some pencils around.
Yeah.
But and any other guys you want to talk about here? The Troy Franklin thing. That's the one guy that's like
Franklin.
Yikes.
Burton.
It's not ideal, is it? Here's our buddy Luke McCaffrey. That's not great.
Yeah. Well, Luke McCaffrey. It's like I'm not sweating that.
You don't got to earn the targets when you're throwing them.
Well, Luke, exactly. You don't have to. You don't have to earn the targets when you're throwing them, and he does have. Let me make sure I'm not lying here. Okay, 1.5 yards per route run. Not as good as I thought it was, but
I think the name
horrible.
Here is Brennan Rice, to just be like, what is going on there? Because he kept earning targets, and it was just like, I guess I didn't watch all the Chargers games, so I would need someone else to inform me. But how do you rack up like 32 preseason targets and have like a catch? Jerry Rice, his brother, was literally tweeting. He deleted them. I went to go find him earlier. His brother, Jerry Rice Jr., tweeted them and then deleted them about like Easton Stick just playing like shit. So maybe that's part of it, but man. Maybe Brennan Rice is just Brennan Rice is just not good, but I refuse to believe that personally.
I've watched some Brendan Rice, and again, don't nobody should be taking their like film takes from me. If you're doing that, that's malpractice. But Davis, I'm a little bit worried about your guy. He doesn't.
He's not. The thing is he's not very explosive. Like you could tell he kind of just has like learned to play wide receiver without like necessarily having the physical gifts, if that makes sense. Like he clearly knows what he's doing, but his brain is like a step ahead of his body, if that makes sense, which, that's kind of the reverse of what you'd actually want a rookie wide receiver to be.
It is very like year 3, year 4, kind of ends up in a spot where like, Brendan Rice is like starting, but like he's not really bringing that much to the table.
Jalen Naylor, it's like year 3, maybe he ends up being the wide receiver 3, and you're like, oh, maybe we.
Right.
Yeah.
He's Josh Reynolds-y.
Jerry Rice, man. Why couldn't you give us another great NFL player?
Wasn't enough. His best ever career wasn't enough.
Sure. Yeah, as the chat is pointing out, Brennan Rice caught 45 passes as Caleb Williams, wide receiver 1 in college. It's
that's what I keep going back to. Is
12 touchdowns, though.
I guess, but it's so concerning that he wasn't.
Brendan Rice plays like a white guy. Jalen Tolbert-ish, you might say.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, so for the big dog draft, Kerrane, I'd say feel free to join that whenever. We're getting to the end of our topics here.
Okay.
Last thing I wanted to talk
Actually,
about
have to
today.
make some big dog slow draft picks before I time out.
Okay, go ahead and do that. MarShawn Lloyd was the other faller I wanted to talk about here. He's down 11 spots to 175. He has a bad combination of both being injured and also kind of being buried on the depth chart as a rookie. I think people are worried about, is this a Kendre Miller, Tank Bigsby situation from last year? Running backs with third round draft capital who didn't really ever pan out during the rookie years. Start with you, Davis. Have you been buying the dip on MarShawn Lloyd?
No, undraftable for me right now. Part of that is because if Lloyd is the guy you need, like I will have had him on a representative sample of teams that I won't feel bad about. And you could say it's very week one brain. And like, A-Chain was hurt in the preseason. A-Chain was playing in the fourth quarter preseason games. If you liked him as a prospect, you should like him now. All that stuff. I mean, he's got like the fumble problems. He never had, I believe it was he never topped, I'm going to get the number wrong, like 164 carries in college or something. The fact that they moved A.J. Dillon, who we just have a conclusive NFL sample of being bad, ahead of him in the pecking order. I mean, it's not anything about Dillon, because Dillon now is maybe not going to play with a stinger.
Yeah, Dillon's got
but
that
Emmanuel Wilson has been awesome in the preseason, and they've kept him around. I wonder, like, if Emmanuel Wilson is ahead of him to start the year. There's speculation that he might start the year on the IR. It's like at this, like, sure, maybe if Lloyd gets to the 18th round or whatever, but like I'm clicking Vidal, whatever. It's this is a situation I don't really have the tools to handle, I think, maybe.
Pat, what are your thoughts on Lloyd at 175?
Yeah, it does seem bad. And I was kind of buying the dip a little bit, but then you're starting to worry about maybe like a full kind of like redshirt type of season being in play. And I've been drafting him all summer. So like what dip am I really getting? Like it's not like he was ever super expensive, so it's like, hey, remember when you spent $3 on this guy? Now you can spend $1 on this guy.
The 2v2 is like it's like MarShawn Lloyd and Brendan Rice versus DJ Shark and Carson Steele now. It's totally inconsequential.
Yeah, so like I don't know that I need to. I'm at like 8% on Lloyd, and if I finish at 5 or 6%, that seems pretty good. So I don't know. I guess I don't think I'm buying this dip. I'm getting nervous. In fact, I've taken a little bit more Josh Jacobs recently.
Yeah.
It feels a little week one brainy, I guess, but if he has kind of dodged the committee bullet, potentially.
He really has. I think especially for the high value touches, I have a hard time believing that he's losing, red zone and pass catching work. Jacobs isn't a guy I have a huge stand on, but I've definitely been taking him a bit more. Agree with you there, Pat. I think, again, with Josh Jacobs, we have this bias against him, but 2 years, if he's just the guy he was 2 years ago, I get you have to throw out last year's data, which
you have to throw it out all the way. Like it was horrific.
Yeah. But there are some alibis with, the holdout stuff. Jonathan Taylor was pretty terrible.
Some alibis. I love the idea of alibis. Why did you suck and why should I not care? I need alibi.
Where was your talent when you were sucking? You need a talent alibi.
Why was Amir White just good in every metric and you were bad in every metric on the same team? Just give me the reasons why.
What if this is either Gretch or Sean brought this up, but what if the story of the season is the Packers just decide running isn't working and Jordan Love throws the ball 612 times and every Packers wide receiver gets there at cost and Jacobs doesn't? You guys thought about that? Because I've thought about it.
That would work out better for the way I've played it.
That would work out for me. I would. So I heard that and I immediately was like, "That's absolutely what's going to happen." Right?
But what's so funny about this stuff is like every other example we've had the past couple of weeks of like, oh, this guy's going way down, and his teammate is going way up. It's It's like, oh, Marshawn Lloyd is going way down, and underdog drafters are like, we don't care at all. We still hate Josh Jacobs. We're not touching him.
You're right. Like and it's gross. Like I just have such a tough time clicking Josh Jacobs. Like he had the one amazing season. I wasn't really drafting him. Then his price goes up like a ton. Man, I drafted him some.
If he started out where Kenneth Walker goes, then I could be into it. I could be into 6th round Josh Jacobs. Like, but taking him over you right now, you have to take him over Worthy, both the Bears wide receivers, sometimes McLaurin, and then the real problem is he goes in the middle of all the tight ends. So he goes McBride, Andrews,
I'm just not
Pitts, Kincaid, Kittle, and it's like, what do you win when you win?
I'd also rather bet on James Cook still. I'd still rather have James Cook. The offseason is broken his way. Too. He's been talked up as, getting a lot more usage as just kind of a clear lead running back.
I think the way you win with Cook and Jacobs in that range is if like there's functionally zero difference between Dalton Kincaid and Jake Ferguson and David Njoku, and you just pass on the tight ends there.
Sure.
And that's how I've been playing that 2x2, because I don't think it's crazy that the Jacobs / Cook plus Njoku / Bowers 2x2 beats the Kincaid plus Najee Harris or whatever, right? Like I see myself coming out almost better there in some ways. So
I think in a lot of outcomes you do, because Kincaid is a breakout bet. If he does what he did last year, we lose.
Yeah,
we lose. Like that is not enough. Now,
exactly.
He could definitely break out. I mean, I think that's very realistic, but yeah, there's plenty of scenarios where you're happy that you didn't take the early round tight end. I would say like the other thing that makes Jacobs difficult isn't just the Najee Harris group, which is part of the reason that Jacobs was difficult click, but I just got Joe Mixon in the 7th today. And Joe Mixon's been late 6th plenty, and he goes early 6th most of the time. Like, to take Jacobs in the early 5th, potentially not get like a Rachaad White falling into the late 6th or Joe Mixon or Kenneth Walker there. Like, I don't know. He really is kind of more part of that group in my mind, but it's always tough because like we don't win based on like the archetype. We win based on the specific players. And I don't want to have like 0 Jacobs with kind of breaking his way.
I agree. And I just think, again, I think the upside case, like, come on, Josh Jacobs was the RB1 in fantasy on Josh McDaniels, Derek Carr, Jared Stidham, Raiders. Like, he can't be really good on the Matt LaFleur Packers when he's still 25 years old. I see the floor on Jacobs for sure. I see it being an ugly committee, and he's not that good. But I think people are saying there's not like a ceiling there are a bit wrong. But we'll see on Jacobs. Pat, how are we doing on this big dog?
We still have 4 more left. I jumped in like 6 minutes ago.
Okay.
We've gone down from I think 7 to 4.
Let me send a tweet.
Yeah, I was gonna repost something as well. I guess another guy we can talk about here on the list of fallers, Ricky Pearsall has been a guy I'm struggling with. I want to blindly bet on the draft capital, but almost similar to Lloyd, he's buried on the depth chart. He's injured, hasn't practiced much at all. I'm honestly not sure what the sharp way to play Ricky Pearsall is. Kerrane, what are your thoughts at 160
ADP? We actually lowered him today because I wasn't really drafting him as much as, I think in some ways you want to scoop this because the first round wide receiver, you don't have like the same concerns about him just being buried on the depth chart the way, some of these other rookies are now. At the same time, like it is getting more difficult to see how he gets on the field. And so, what I tend to do is the lower stakes it is, the more likely I am to draft Pearsall. So I'm like bigger field.
Yeah.
I'm more into it with the bigger field. Hang on, let me share this actually. I'm more into it the bigger the field size is and the lower the stakes are. Like in big dogs where I'm like, okay, I just gotta get to the playoffs. How much is Pearsall gonna help me? I'm kind of like, I don't know if I want to risk $500 that he somehow finds a way to see the field.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Feels like the ultimate 4% exposure blanket. Whereas like with Leggett, I went from being all the way out on Leggett, total 0-pointer, no interest, to being like, well, he's just going to be on the field. Week 1, snap 1, he's on the field. And if Leggett can play, then I'll get paid off. Whereas like Ricky Pearsall could play, but we might not even know. Like Ricky Pearsall might be amazing. And we literally might not even know. And like Juwan Jennings is going to play ahead of him. Kyle Juszczyk is going to like, who plays more snaps this year? Kyle Juszczyk or Ricky Pearsall? And why is it Ricky Pearsall?
Why is it Ricky?
Or why is it Kyle Juszczyk?
Yeah. All right, so we're out of the 8. We are flying here.
Okay. And yeah, just a reminder for people on this format. It's a $500 buy-in, much smaller field, obviously, than Best Ball Mania. I think it's is it 2 out of 12 advance, and then like 1 out of 4, like 20-person final. It's something like that.
I think it's even smaller. There might be 10-person final.
Let me get those numbers right.
It is a 10-person final.
Yeah,
all right, so
2 out of 12, 1 out of 6, 1 out of 6, 10-seat final.
We're on the clock.
I just go Bijan here.
Yeah,
pretty clearly for me. What do you guys think?
I think, yeah. Oh, it would have been nice if Matt Porter was not logged in. Would have been nice if his default ranking.
Yeah.
Would have been nice if he was a big running back, bro.
In the big dog, I actually tend to go receiver.
Receiver first.
Receiver more. Yeah. 'Cause I think that's safer in this environment. I think if you're just trying to play advance rate, I think just making sure that you have enough receiver firepower is the safest thing you can do.
So I have a slightly different take, which is that you actually don't get buried by the avalanche in big dogs. People do not draft like BBM or puppies in these. People do the same thing. They go, they think it's safer to take Jonathan Taylor. They think it's safer to take Derrick Henry. I've done 6 of them, and I only got buried in an avalanche. I found the opposite problem. I was thinking I got buried by the avalanche in the first one, but I didn't. I was remembering having trouble, and then I remembered the reason I had trouble is that people were taking like Jalen Warren at like pick 72 or whatever. Like they were like gobbling up the running backs.
Yeah, and I don't have an issue going Bijan at 8, but just generally, I do tend to like. It's not that I think the risky thing right now is like needing to rely on Jaden Reed in the late 5th or something. Like that doesn't feel super safe to me. So I tend to like to get early wide receiver firepower in these.
Yeah, obviously I've got no issue with that. I think it's.
Yeah. If Jefferson or Amon-Ra or whatever was available.
Yeah, I was really hoping Jefferson.
It's much more of a discussion. I mean, I just.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think just scooping Bijan a little past ADP there makes sense. I was tempted to go Garrett or
Debo.
Brown. Any other?
Yeah, it would be.
I'm down with Debo.
Debo would be my guy here, unless you want to reach for like Olave or something. But I like Debo more, I think.
We don't have to do the Cooper Kupp battle at all.
Oh, God,
we were very close to
Oh, no.
to Sam calling Puka Nacua a 5th round rookie from BYU.
I would have left the stream if we took Cooper Kupp at pick 18. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. I'm too triggered by the people in my mentions. I can't.
He's like rocketing up,
dude. It's crazy. Are you guys admitting that it's like a little bit fishy now that he goes to like 16 on DraftKings? Like, come on. Okay. Finally.
Did you see ship chasing? I couldn't talk them into Puka Nacua in the 2nd round.
Yeah. During that whole draft, Pat, I was like, I really felt for you. Some of those arguments, I was like, what is going on? Puka Nacua in the 2nd, like best rookie wide receiver ever. And we're just like, Cooper Kupp's better.
Stats aren't sticky. Like, yeah, but if we just took the stats at face value, you'd be like the 104. We can't take him in the 2nd. It's crazy.
It's like the Rams are such a crazy thing for fantasy football. Kyren Williams, I believe. I mean, I don't want to say he's the first, but he's got to be one of the only guys to be like a 21.5 point per game scorer who is a 3rd round pick.
Yeah, that's
Got
true.
And Puka Nacua has to be almost one of the only players to have gained 1,600 yards and 7 touchdowns to be like, I don't know, his teammate might be better. His teammate who had like 800 yards or whatever.
Do people not remember like the playoff game,
The playoffs,
the Rams against?
We just
people.
did this.
People were still saying that, like, and that I guess everyone wants to like throw out all of last year's data because of the injuries, but like, what Cooper Kupp had like months to recover from his injury at that point, and like the stats in that game were like, I got to pull it up.
But we just also know that like wide receiver production does not work in a contingent based way, the same way that running back production was. Not that targets can't open up, but it's like Cooper Kupp's injury did not create the Puka Nacua season. Puka Nacua created the Puka Nacua season,
right?
By being awesome, and maybe now he won't be able to recreate it because Kupp will be healthier, but like,
aren't you worried about Colby Parkinson, bro?
No, I am not. I am not. Getting a full, I mean, he's been going to these breakfast guys, and he's had a full off season now of breakfast. He only had like abbreviated breakfast last summer, He didn't even know about the breakfast right away. Full off season of breakfast.
I wonder if CSU is auto drafting this or if he's logged in.
Yeah. Puka Nacua.
I believe either thing.
In the playoffs last year, again, these are the games that are the most important. You have to win them to get to the Super Bowl. Puka Nacua, 10 targets, 9 receptions, 181 yards, and a touchdown. Also got a rushing attempt in that game. Cooper Kupp.
What do we do here, guys? This is
Dell. We set up trying to push Stroud. In my opinion,
I think it is Dell as well.
Yeah, who are the other wide receivers?
Or I would also do Rashee because they're the total number of teams here.
I would also do Rashee.
And we set up getting Pat.
I'm good with Rashee. Let's do it. I don't care. This is where we shouldn't care about the people who got Rashee Rice in the 10th round. It really does not
truly
matter.
like it's not.
It's 10 person final.
Win your league. Yeah.
It's over for you when Sam is making fun of the old guy in an argument. Honestly. True. Wow, Tee Higgins, you got saved, Sam. We were going to have to take Tee Higgins via your agreement with the viewers, and you got saved. He goes at pick 33.
Wow. I was about ready.
I've never seen Sam look happier. Look at him.
Oh man. I had a funny bit ready to make a case for Tee Higgins in the 4th round, but I guess I won't have to use that one.
Oh,
what
can
a
you
shame.
do it anyway?
I can't. I'm sorry. I have to be another big dog.
Bullock, I think Rice should go at pick 32 in the big dog. That's my opinion on where I think Rice should go. That's actually unironic. That's a non-derogatory. I really think that's right about where he should go. Given the suspension, like where I landed on Rice is that he should go right about there in all contests right now with suspension risk, dupe risk, all that stuff. That's where I landed.
So Flowers, I was really hoping would get back to us. What do you guys want to do here? I mean, we could just go Mahomes and stack it. We could do Kelsey.
Yeah, we do Pat if he gets there.
You would go Pat over Kelsey?
Yeah, I think we're actually going to get it because no one did the Kelsey. This guy would have been the one to do the Kelsey Mahomes thing, and he chose not to.
So you're Pat over Kelsey.
There should be a tight end that we'll all agree on in the next round, and if not, there will be a wide receiver that we'll all be able to agree on in the next round.
That's true.
And we already have our anchor running back. We should, well, let's make this pick and then we can talk about it. We could talk about the Juju thing just for like a quick second because I've had a little bit of time to think about it and I have arrived at the scientifically correct conclusion. Yeah, I think
Mahomes is like, I guess if we're playing safety here, Mahomes is definitely on the safety spectrum, way safer than Kelsey.
Yeah,
I think he's probably the slightly better pick in this format.
Yeah, my thought on the Juju thing is one, It's like just like doing him a like he's been in the building. So like that just kind of how the NFL works. Like it's hard to go hungry if you've had a job before. It's also probably a little bit about Nagy and Reed being like, get Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney so far away from my football team that I never have to deal with them ever again. And maybe a smidgen of like, well, if Rice is suspended, we could just throw Juju out there for 4 games. A smidgen of that.
I feel like it's mostly like they want one of these bigger run blocking wide receivers to be able to sub in for Worthy and Rice when they're running 12 personnel and they know they're going to run it. You know, they used to be MVS, Demarcus Robinson out there. They don't want Sky Moore and Toney out there for blocking snaps. Like those guys are just going to fuck it up. So Juju's just reliable veteran. He'll play a very small role if he's active. Just
he's like Allen Robinson was for
the Steelers.
Yeah, I couldn't remember what team. Sure, Allen Robinson on the Steelers.
But what did he even get? Like, is he guaranteed to even make?
Well, it's Jordan Schultz reporting it, so it also just might not be true.
No, I think it's the same as the Russ thing. It's the offset language in the contract. So I think he's getting the vet minimum and the Pats.
Vet minimum.
The Pats are paying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's what I read. Is that it's a similar thing to the Russ situation where basically there was no incentive for him to take any more money than that because the offset
he gets
language.
It anyway.
Yeah. And I'm sure he'd like to win another Super Bowl. Like winning Super Bowls is fun.
Yeah. Is he going to win a Super Bowl like Melvin Gordon won a Super Bowl though?
Probably.
That's
Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon looked pretty goddamn happy at the Super Bowl parade. So yeah. I think it all counts.
It's great for Melvin. I don't think Juju has any impact. I mean, this was about as barren a depth chart as there was in the league, and he couldn't make it.
Paul, I just want to point out, Juju already has more rings than Jefferson, Lamb, and Chase combined. So he already has more Super Bowl titles than those players. Just
This is a real question that you're faced with sometimes. You know, you take Patrick Mahomes, everyone snipes you on all the wide receivers. Who is your 20th round pick on DraftKings? Watson, Juju, Sky, Toney.
Carson Steele.
Okay. But imagine a universe where you're forced to take a wide receiver.
I think I used to say Toney, and then I watched him play football for 1 snap this year, and I'm back to Watson.
Yeah, it's Watson for me.
Well, actually, no, it's the tight ends, Noah Gray or
Tony's
Wiley
done. Tony's not on that team, right?
Yeah.
He's getting cut.
I think you take Watson. You hope one of the top 3 guys gets hurt in this scenario, and then he's just MVS and has 1 spike week a year. That's all you can really hope for.
All right, so wide receivers. We got Fat Keenan. We got Jaden Reed. We got Kyle Pitts at tight ends.
Okay, I thought there was a smidgen of a hope that Worthy might get to us.
I mean, I've been somewhat Ridley pilled based on the preseason stuff, but I can't imagine I'm not gonna be able to get you guys there. So I'm fine with Reed if you want.
Reed just goes.
I would actually say Pitts maybe, but
we need a receiver bad. Like we can't. Like I don't know. I think I'm
Adunze.
I was gonna say I have Adunze higher in my rankings, but I'm actually fine with Keenan and Ridley's like whatever. Like
I'm fine with. I mean, if a team ever needed Ridley, it's probably this one.
Right.
So I'm okay with Ridley.
He's looked pretty good in the preseason, and this gives me now when people say can't believe you faded Ridley all offseason, I'll be like, people forget I've got him on a big dog team that's in the finals, so it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know. Like I don't know how much weight to put in it. It's so hard, but like the Titans offense just looked like so competent, and it was like all like easy scheme stuff for Will Levis, and I just feel like Brian Callahan is really good at this. Like he did it with Jake Browning.
It's been the thesis the entire time, man.
Yeah.
I
really have not drafted Ridley. There was a period right after the Hopkins injury where it looked pretty bad, where I was aggressive about getting more, but then the Hopkins injury didn't look so bad, and I remembered that I really don't have that much faith in Calvin Ridley, so I stopped drafting him. But yeah, I mean, this team like really needs just a bit, like just volume. You know, him getting fed targets.
If we had not already had a stack set up, I would have said we have to take a bear because I want to have a quarterback open.
Sure.
But when you already have your quarterback stuff set up, it's fine.
Yeah, Levis is probably a better pairing with Mahomes than.
Well,
Caleb,
no, if you take Mahomes and Caleb, you just get Mahomes twice, which feels pretty fun.
True.
That is pretty fun. I think I'm Cook if he makes it. He probably won't.
Yeah, I am too.
There he goes. Okay.
We want.
I have a name I want.
We want Kittle.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say it before this guy. Whatever. He knows we probably want Kittle, but
I mean, he literally watched us make this exact pick the last time that we did.
Yeah, well, actually, Kittle again.
Elite T tight end is terrible in this format. You want to make sure you're just getting Hunter Henry, Cade Otton, Tucker Craft in the last 3 rounds. That's what you need in this format. All right, it worked.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. If any of you are in a mini Schnauzer draft with me in the next hour, I'm auto drafting them. So don't at me when my team is terrible.
Kittle's kind of sweet here with the Debo.
Man, yeah.
My
Kittle exposure is like, you ever have like a take where so the take I have is that Kittle is just a better football player than Kyle Pitts, Dalton Kincaid.
It's like literally not even. It's literally not even close.
Debatable.
It's not even. It's literally not even.
Yeah.
It's just so obvious.
But there's just so many ways like Kittle gets banged up or whatever, and I lose. But I'm just saying, you know what? Those universes don't exist. I'm just gonna have a crazy amount of George Kittle this year, and let's see what happens. Let's have some fun.
I mean, step 1 is kind of already happening, right?
Yeah, and we still have the Pearsall injury, Ayuk weirdness going on. What's going on with Ayuk? What's going on?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Step 1 is already happening. Ayuk has not been with the team. Season starts in 10 days.
Yeah, although I think isn't he just kind of doing the CD Jamar Chase thing now, where he's going to sign and
the 49ers cap situation is just more complex though than those teams, as far as I understand it.
Well, I just mean he's like, all right, like I'm not going to be like preseason games though, guys, or going in preseason games, I should say. He wants training camp off, right? Isn't that what it is?
Is he old enough to have earned that respect?
He is if he refuses to sign a contract.
All right, that's fair.
I've been like drafting a lot of Ayuk, kind of pretending this doesn't matter, but
same.
Yeah, I don't know.
I am too, but it makes me a bit nervous.
When has this type of situation gone right, where the guy holds out till the last second, and then I'm sure it has worked out, but there's also examples where guys just start so slow after that type of situation that it just scares me a little bit.
For sure.
I mean, I'm scared specifically about Ayuk because of how Shanahan does stuff, where I feel like Shanahan is such a meticulous game planner, such a meticulous structurer artist of an offense that, like, guys, he's been in the lab for 6 months, not knowing if Brandon Ayuk was going to be on his team.
Yeah. How many wrinkles does he have for Ayuk?
Yeah. Like, this is the Debo year. This is the Debo wrinkle year with Kittle running, routes next to guys who can't earn targets.
Wow, that's
love to see Hollywood Brown as your wide receiver too. Just got to do that. I'm a little tilted there. If you can't tell.
Yeah, I kind of wanted him. That's early for him these days, right?
Yeah.
I think it's literally. I think 72 is right at his ADP.
Oh, I'm fully DraftKings brained, where he goes in like the 110s because people see the doubtful tag.
Yeah. He goes much later there.
Yeah. Yeah. DraftKings is really. I'm always been a huge underdog guy. Once I go back to a state where I can play it, I'm going to be an underdog guy. But the opportunities you have in DraftKings to build super teams is just, it is crazy.
It is crazy.
You do. You come back to being like, if I don't get Jalen Warren with this pick, the entire house of cards comes tumbling down to being like, Jalen Polk's here at 155. Sure, why not? It's really insane. Yeah.
I got Jordan Addison at like 135 today. I'm not even a Jordan Addison guy really, but I'm like, what?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's actually crazy.
Yeah. His ADP is like 110, I think. It's nuts.
All right, so what are we thinking here?
Yeah, this is the deal with the devil spot.
Oh God.
Where the running backs project for like meaningfully more points, but it's kind of the last group of running backs or wide receivers you can even squint and be like, oh, maybe this will be okay.
Yeah, I think I'm Keon if he's here.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Keon and Addison, I
Matt
think.
Porter. Oh, all right, there you go. Snap Keenan, I think, or Keon.
Are you good, Sam, with that?
Yeah, I'm good with Keon.
Famously,
Yeah, it doesn't feel like great, but I feel like it's the right pick.
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb's cousin.
CeeDee Lamb's cousin. Yeah, man, I don't know what to do with Keon. Like, the role stuff from the preseason seemed really good, which I guess we should care about more, but the performance was just not really that inspiring.
I mean, I guess it's more good than bad. I've got no certainty he's like going to out target Matt Collins.
I mean, Matt Collins might out target Curtis Samuel, Khalil Shakir.
Well, the
I think Matt Collins is kind of a good pick.
The turf toe really opens it up for Shakir and for Keon. So
Right.
I was pretty sure Shakir was even bad at like wide receiver 55 or whatever before that. And now it's pretty open for Shakir, I think.
Yeah.
I have to say
I've heard Evan Silva talk about Shakir. He's kind of in my ear now where like it's a vibes based pick a little bit, but like I can see it just being Shakir out of these three. I don't know.
I mean, I just don't think Shakir is all that good. But
I don't either. But
maybe Josh Allen is really good.
He does have a little bit of the Greg Dortch thing where like when I see Shakir play, I'm like, This dude's pretty good. And then
but
like
why
all
does
the numbers
he never,
are like,
why does he never play?
Yeah,
I don't know.
both him and Dortch have like 12% career targets per route run, but they have like 5-10 target games somehow, and you're like, what is going on? Are these spreadsheets wrong? Like,
yeah,
I think
all right,
the spreadsheets
you gotta pick here.
Yeah, I mean,
I have a guy.
That's not who I want.
Yeah,
Oh,
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
I was gonna make a case for
Shakir is
Mostert,
Shakir is big and fast. Shakir is not big and not that fast for his size.
Jalen Warren is who I would like to take.
Yeah, same.
All right, I'll defer to you. Personally, I'd probably take Mostert. I just want that on the record. But I think Warren's a good pick.
Better learn legendary upside, buddy.
I just love this discount we're still getting on Warren. He was going to like mid-7th, tweaks his hamstring, isn't going to play week 1. Then he is going to play week 1, and everyone's like, yeah, but we can't take him. We got to see if he'll fall to the hundreds. What if he falls to the hundreds? He's not falling to the hundreds anymore, guys.
Shakir ran a 4.43 at 196 pounds, which like in this day and age, what does that make his RAS? Like a 7 probably? Like not good.
No, I bet it's exactly a 7, yeah.
Yeah.
Should we just have a pod where we guess RASes?
Where we guess RASes? That is good. Please check Khalil Shakir for me. Because I'm gonna guess it's quite bad.
Yeah. I think a 6 to 7 range, something like a 6.
801.
Ooh. Okay. Sorry, Khalil.
Sorry, Khalil.
Shorted your whole point.
Yeah. The thing I can't get out of my head is that Khalil Shakir was basically the reason they lost the game to the Chiefs. That the pass where Allen got hit by, I don't remember the lineman, and missed the spot by a little bit. That if Shakir would have been heads up, he could have made the play, but his head wasn't up, so he didn't. And I'm just like, I don't know. To me, that's too much ball knowing that like it literally doesn't matter. But
yeah, I mean,
it was a really bad play. It was a really bad play by him. Is all.
The other thing I can't get over is he's on the field. You know, Gabe Davis, kind of one of the ultimate win sprinters in the league. Khalil Shakir is on the field with Gabe Davis his whole career and can't get over like 14% targets per out run. Like this is a guy that's going to be the focal point of the offense. It's just, I get Diggs was there, but I don't know, man. The targets per out run, like what's the example of the guy with that low of a target earning profile that like explodes in year 3 or 4?
Jalen Tolbert, according to everyone drafted him at 140.
Yes, it's Jalen Tolbert. Yeah.
Okay, Kerrane. There used to be the N+1 comps on RotoViz, you know, where you could they do the.
Aren't there still? There's not.
How do you find them? It's like I'm sure there's a way to find them, but I need the N+1 comps.
I think I can find it. Hang on.
Because I'm gonna guess his N+1 comps are like the worst cadre of guys you can imagine. It's gonna be like Terrace Marshall is gonna show up there somehow, or like it's not gonna be good.
Yeah, I think I found it.
This is a good point. You guys are too close to the sun. I just click the cool sounding names.
Thank you.
That's actually how you get on Khalil Shakir. That
I was going to say, please bring me back to my roots, which is being like Toby Gerhart. Good name. Good running back name. Toby Gerhart. Should have been good.
All right, I got it.
Is it the screener?
It's the range of outcomes app.
The range of outcomes.
Oh my God, you guys are gonna love this.
Please, right. Can you share your screen?
Keeping an eye on it, so don't worry. Here we go. Here's the names.
Freddie Swain. Russell Ginn. Terrace Marshall. I said Terrace Marshall's name was gonna come up.
Alex Erickson is a good one too. Wow.
Wes Watkins. These are the names you would expect. Braxton Berrios.
His teammate from last year, Trent Sherfield.
All right, let's hang on. We got to do it.
Oh God, this is gonna be even worse.
So bad. Yeah, no, let's kill it with James Proche.
Oh God.
Oh,
the other Mike Thomas. Oof.
The other Mike Thomas.
Yeah, wrong Mike Thomas.
I'm surprised the comps there just don't say convert to tight end.
All right, I'm done. I'm done with Tolbert. That enough right there was enough for me to be like, I'm playing bad, and I need to stop playing bad.
What do we like here?
Oh God, Shakir for the bit.
Shakir would be real. We were actually just fudding him for the last. We were just fudding him for the last 3 minutes so we could take him here.
Oh God.
Are you? Well, you don't like Javonte very much. I think one of these running backs.
No, I do like Javonte.
I meant Sam.
Oh well, we can outvote him.
All right, let's outvote him again.
You sure it's a running back spot though? With
it's not really, but like
it's kind of a.
What do
we do? Think we should go with like a Dobbs or one of the Bills guys?
I think Shaheed is my favorite of these guys.
I think we will get one of these wide receivers that we feel ambivalent about. Like only one of these guys is a podium pick.
I mean, I would be Zach Moss over Javonte, but that's just me.
I'd do that. I mean, that helps me even out my bags a little bit more. I took Chase Brown 3 times already in the big dog. So
this feels horrible, but let's go.
I don't care. I think these guys are both good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, your guys' Chase Brown bags are probably not as heavy as mine, but honestly, every time I take Zach Moss when Chase Brown is off, I'm like, that's one that the slappies can't say that I was too slappy.
That's how I do Najee. It's mostly after Warren's gone, which is harder to do now. But I do every time I take Najee. I'm like, see,
we are. I mean, I hope everyone has their prayer circles ready because we are at the Samaje Perine.
Oh, here we are. Yeah, we're gonna find out.
It's today and tomorrow. Like someone posted in my YouTube chat yesterday that they think there's a handshake deal between the Bengals and the Broncos to just flip him for a 7th round pick whenever they decide what to do, which would totally make sense. Which
would make this pick really bad.
Well, it would
make it just made.
It would make it
pretty
terrible. But it would, Sam. That was your comp of being like the Bengals are too stupid to figure out how to pick up a guy off the waiver wire. So if you just do the 7th round pick, you could just slot his cap number right in.
Yeah, that is true. I don't think they know how to use the waiver wire. Someone's got to like help them log into their ESPN account.
All right. Well, every wide receiver that I thought was vaguely interesting went. So we did those in the reverse order. We should have taken.
I'm into Shaheed. You guys don't like Shaheed?
Yeah. No, I like Shaheed just fine.
Yeah. Has he shown any signs of life recently? What's the latest on?
No, he's basically missed all of.
Yeah, he's like basically hasn't played in a month.
All right. Yeah, that seems like a great pick.
All right, great.
Oh, it was.
Do we want to go lock it or something else? Or you go?
No, I'm fine with Shaheed. I'm kidding.
Jalen Polk sets up.
Yeah. Could have done that.
He doesn't go this early, does he?
No, he doesn't go this early. Yeah, but he probably won't get back to us.
I just wish, Shaheed was a guy I was really high on. I'm just like, just practice once, maybe. Would be nice.
Yeah, practicing once would have been good. Kind of feels like we dropped the baby a little bit with not going Javonte. Perine's going to sign there. You know he is.
All I care about is Perine not being a Bengal, honestly, at this point.
Not being a Cowboy.
I'd sacrifice Dowdle to be right about Chase Brown.
I'd sacrifice your Chase Brown bags to be right about my Dowdle bags.
The weird thing about the last
Oh, man.
Look, one of us is gonna die, and honestly, I hope he goes. I hope he goes to the Buccaneers so that it's the Rachaad White people who die.
Oh wow, the Buccaneers would be something.
They have like literally no use for him, but they just feels like it just.
What about
feels,
the Raiders? That's interdivision, so they probably won't do it.
What about this? Is what I was thinking of the Ravens. That Owen Wright guy just broke his foot. He was like the RB3. Keaton Mitchell.
They already have Samaje Perine. His name is Justice Hill.
Yeah, but what about slightly bigger Justice?
They do like a cast-off running back though. They're into that.
I can't even. This like is giving me anxiety. Like Samaje Perine is like gonna keep me up at night. I'm not even kidding. Like if Samaje Perine goes to the Bengals, Chase Brown is like a 15th round pick.
Yeah. We took him in the 8th round of the main event. 8th round.
I just wish Paul Denner of The Athletic didn't put Samaje Perine in every single one of his articles. Just maybe leave him out. Leave him out once.
This is the
you don't have to mention him every single time.
But this is the craziest thing. It's like if the Broncos all offseason, since they took Estime, we're like, oh yeah, we love Estime. Estime is he's coming. Like, why has Samaje Perine been on the team this whole time?
I don't know.
Why not just cut him 2 months ago?
I guess because you're like, this dude can play, and like there's sometimes injuries, and like they care more about the team than this player. Like if you're just thinking about your team, you should keep Perine.
What am I just like I gotta come up with a good pithy tweet for when Samaje Perine ends up being a Bengal, because everyone's gonna be like, Davis is gonna eat it. He's got all these dead Chase Brown teams. I
still think it's like 40% they keep Perine.
Well, then I got a bunch of dead estimate teams.
Yeah, that's my estimate bags, dude. So you're just what's the best outcome for you?
He retires. because even the Chiefs, which other people have mentioned, now that I'm taking Carson Steele, it's not even good for me.
No, yeah, that would hurt.
You know what?
No,
Giants.
It needs to be a team like the Colts.
You're not taking
Tracy?
Tracy?
Drafting the RB2.
I'm taking a little bit of Giants, a little bit of Tracy, but not to impact my bags in any meaningful way.
You know what I kind of hope, because we all deserve this, that he goes to the Chargers.
Yeah.
Chargers
that one seems fair. That seems more fair somehow. I don't know.
Yeah, it seems fair to everyone, the whole community.
Oh, Perine to the Jags. Perine to the Jags impacts me in no way.
I think we want that. That sounds great.
Perine to the Jags.
Perine to the Jags.
Perine to the Texans.
To the Colts. That was a good one. The Colts is a really good one.
Honestly, though, I accept any scenario where he's not a Bengal. Just any possible scenario where he is not a Bengal. And the Chris Evans injury, feels like it makes it a little bit more likely too.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That one was annoying because I think they were going to keep Chris Evans as a special teamer on the roster.
Guys, I legitimately have elevated heart rate right now from this conversation. Like, this is so brutal.
I have elevated heart rate from no good picks being left.
Is there not a wide receiver that we like?
Mike Williams.
Mike Williams?
Oh no. I meant Jalen Polk.
He's gone. He's long gone.
Yeah, there are no good picks here. Is there a
Charbonnet or Ford?
Can we take a quarterback and be done? We don't have any quarterbacks.
We don't need
do we?
Ford, really. Where's Charbonnet?
I think Mike Williams isn't terrible for this team, to be honest. We have kind of a.
I honestly don't think so either.
We have Keon too.
Yeah. Let's do Williams.
Sets up a Rodgers. Rodgers stack isn't a bad out to have on this team.
Yeah, we pushed it at wide receiver. I think making sure we don't just go to the pure flyers is good.
I like Mike Williams. I know you're not going to get any cool fantasy football points for saying that this year, but he's basically Tee Higgins, but better than on the Jets.
True. It's actually had an 11 touchdown season too.
I mean, that one, the Tee Higgins comparisons are mostly like meant to be derogatory. That one was meant to be pro Mike Williams. That's how this whole thing started. I was trying to make a pro Mike Williams point, and everyone interpreted it as you hate Tee Higgins.
Well, were they wrong? All right. What are we doing here? I think running back, probably
Probably Benson.
Benson, honestly, if we think about just like contributing to the team, I think Ty Chandler probably has the best bet of doing that.
Sure.
But I'm okay with Benson if you guys.
We already have our stud, and then we have like our two. Like these guys are going to get points every single week.
Fuck, I don't know.
Where are you?
I'd probably go Benson.
Yeah, Benson is like, I mean, he was like a very good prospect. He landed in a good situation, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I've been trying to do on Benson is I'm just trying to like zoom out on all this like preseason noise a little bit. Second running back taken on the draft. I ranked all the running back situations pre-draft, like before knowing where guys would land to try to have like an unbiased view of it. I had Cardinals in the top 10. Like James Conner's good, but aging veteran, absolutely no running back 2 there to really compete with. I still think it's a good bet. I don't know. The depth chart stuff obviously scares me a little bit, but I still think it's a good bet.
I do too. Yeah, it makes more sense with the anchor running back build.
Yeah, we don't need him week 1 at all on this team.
No.
Well, if Jalen Warren's out and Samaje Perine signs with the Bengals, then we do need him. But besides that.
Well, Jalen Warren's not going to be out week 1. He said he's not going to be out week 1.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. He said he would have played in the preseason game if it was a regular season game.
Fake dip. That's the thing. Drafting in these big dogs just sucks because everyone's pretty good and there's always one auto drafting team, which means if everyone's pretty good and there's one auto drafting team, like nothing fun happens.
Yeah.
Like you're basically just drafting off ADP, which one auto drafting team is like if you're gonna have auto drafters, you want like 2 or 3, so they're just like crazy dead teams. One auto drafter just sucks. Auto drafter, you're just like, all right, well, no one's getting to the wrong side of the board. It's just brutal. Benson, but like, what is the functional difference between Benson and Corum, where there's like a 40 spot gap?
Well, Benson used to go way ahead of Corum.
Yeah.
And then I think correctly that's flipped just based on, I think that Corum is kind of the clear running back 2 and Benson is not yet. But the thing is, it's like if Connor went down, they're not going to turn to Amari DiMercato and be like, carry the load. So he still really does have a lot of contingent value.
Yeah. I mean, Michael Carter, not a player I'm concerned about in any degree. Michael Carter has just been given up on by every team he's ever played for, including his college team, which is kind of interesting. Like Michael Carter went from being a starter to them benching, and also as a 4-year player, he's bad.
Yeah. I think also it's like obviously it's good if a rookie running back has a week 1 role, but there's plenty of times where they like Nick Chubb did not really have a week 1 role at all his rookie year. He was awesome down the stretch. Obviously, there's the A-Chain example last year. Like I don't know. I'm not freaking out about it with Benson. But I'm definitely bag defending because I will lose.
Well, and there's a little bit of extrapolation from what happened when Connor got injured last year. But when Connor got injured last year, their team was insane ass. And these were the running backs they had available. Keontae Ingram, 31-year-old Damian Williams, and Amari DiMercato. And then eventually Michael Carter. So I'm not reading a ton into that.
What do you guys want to do here? We could take Rodgers.
What are the other stack options we have at quarterback?
I don't want to take Rodgers.
Okay. One stack option we could have would be if we take Hunter Henry here.
I think that's who I want to take.
Okay.
You think injured Hunter Henry over Cole Kmet? All right.
Yeah, dude. Didn't you see my Shane Waldron tweet? It's like actually crazy. I kind of thought it was FUD from the Shane Waldron haters. These snap shares that he has given tight ends the 3 years in Seattle, some of the most batshit stuff I've ever seen. 3 straight years where no tight end topped 64% of snaps. 2 years where they didn't top 56%. Every year, a second tight end played at least 47%, and a third tight end played at least 15%. So it's just like,
yeah, it's annoying.
It's just I think Fant is two ways to read that. First being Fant breakout stuff. Like it was just bad luck that Fant, who is this good player, got traded at a time when he got lined up with a coach who didn't value his position or didn't treat his position as a premium position. And then the other way to read it is Cole Kmet better learn Gerald Everett, buddy.
The way I've interpreted that a little bit differently is like you can at least make sense of the Seattle rotation in that like Will Dissly and Colby Parkinson are better blockers than Noah Fant, so I get why they're on the field. Like, what exactly is Gerald Everett better than Cole Kmet at? And over the course of the season, isn't that just gonna skew towards Kmet getting a big like Gerald Everett can't block?
The problem that I see is that Cole Kmet isn't that good.
Right.
Like he's not. He's better than Gerald Everett.
He's like Mike Davis at tight end.
But I don't know that I'm willing to bet on Cole Kmet to like prove it to a coach that he has to be out there when he doesn't seem to think that right now. You know what I mean? Like it's like I'm generally willing to bet on talent to kind of prove out, but at tight end, specifically receiving talent, who's like an okay receiver versus like a less than okay receiver, like it's too close, you know?
All right. What do we got here?
So this is when you got to do it if we're going to do it.
I think we just do it.
All
right. Get our guy season.
Nothing like taking Drake Maye in the 14th round to prove a fucking point.
Let's fucking go.
He better be the starter by week 6.
I think he will be. I'm pretty sure he will be.
We could do next Franklin.
Yeah. No, I think
if you're really scared.
I'm not that scared about Maye. The only thing I am scared about with New England is, man, their O-line. I think the reports about how bad their O-line are very true.
Yeah.
It looks atrocious.
Yeah. How good did that Drake Maye third and 10 pockets collapsing around him? No one can get open, and he's just like, you know what? It's the outside scramble when the pocket breaks down and you escape the scramble. That's an easy first down to get. Much harder to get the scramble where you stay in the pocket as it collapses around you, decide you can't make the throw, and get the first down running up the middle. That is a much harder thing to do.
I also think that, you know, this is one of the things that showed up in his college data is that he scrambles from a clean pocket at a high rate. And on that, it's not like there's a guy he didn't escape anybody. He just assessed pretty quickly, like, I'm not getting the ball to anyone. I'm running. Like he's got that it kicks in quick, but he can also look downfield too. So he's not like constantly running. So I personally, it felt validating based on what I thought he was that, you know, he's kind of willing to run in that kind of situation that way.
Yeah. I'm going to have to go here for the last couple picks. So I'll say goodbye now and let you guys finish off the draft. All I'll say quickly, we'll be back next Monday, final ADP chasing. We'll have our truth serum episode. We'll be going over, I think, maybe 3 to 4 hot takes per person. Realistic hot takes. We'll talk about exactly how I want to frame it. But
truth serum. I think we should discuss exactly, because to me, truth serum.
We'll discuss what that means. Yeah,
it's
not hot takes is not what I meant to say.
Yeah, it's like you take truth serum. So now you gotta say, like, my truth serum take was about a player who I'm actually not taking enough of for Pete's video.
Yeah,
and I'm like, what? I know I should take more of this guy, but I'm struggling to do it. And I'm only telling this because I took truth serum.
Yeah. All right, guys. Good luck rest of the draft. I'll see you guys later.
Drake Maye 30 picks ahead of ADP, and Sam can't handle it, so he just leaves.
he's bouncing.
Sam pulling a Silva. He's gone full ETR. He's just like, you nerds take whoever you want. I do the Silva 150, and that's all I need to do. After 150, I'm dropping off. All right, so we've got 2, 4, 6, 2.
Yeah.
All right, so at least one of those 6 will be a last round Patriots wide receiver, whichever one we want. We probably need one more running back. I'd probably do another. I could be convinced into another quarterback or another tight end. I could do either or. Honestly,
I think given what we did with Maye, we did the reach. We probably just bet on it and stick to 2. But I think Rodgers is still here. Yeah,
I'm not. It's definitely I'm not forcing it. But I think this is a running back pick right here.
The running backs are wiped. Although no, there's a couple of guys. Yeah, never mind.
There's a name. There's always a name. There's always a name in the banana
There's always
stands.
a name. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, we push Rodgers.
Well, I don't know if you've been doing this, but I'm like, there's 10 days left of drafting. Like, I don't need to waste any more of my life trying to pretend to care about balancing my exposures. Like, if I want Carson Steele, I'm just gonna take Carson Steele. But there's a better name.
Yeah, I think this is the name, right?
Yeah, that's the name.
Yeah, and Sam was all the way back in too, so we got it.
That's another.
Bring back as well.
I've been taking.
So we're good at running back, right? Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, we can take another one if we want, but yeah, we're probably good. Yeah, just remember to click on your round 18 pick and not let underdog choose Geno Smith for you. That literally happened to me right before we got on the stream. I was doing a Best Ball Mania, and my positional limits were set from fast drafting, auto drafting puppies. And I had Sion Vaki in the queue in the round 18, and I had it all set up. And then my positional limits auto drafted Geno Smith for me because I didn't click it. I just had him in the queue. Horrible
That's
stuff.
horrible, man.
All right. This is a pretty good team. There's still a team. Oh, Geno just went. I was going to say that team did not have a. Oh, well, Knicks was going to be the other quarterback I was going to float. So that's probably dead now. The Knicks May correlation has to be so high. It's like only slappies. To be, yeah. It's only slappies. Like it's only people who know what a Jacquard tree is who have taken those
yeah,
two players
if you've heard
together.
of Jacquard, then you have Knicks and May together. It's 100%. The Jacquard similarity on that is very similar.
100%. So we can take a wide receiver here. Is there any tight end that's interesting to you? Like probably not.
Yeah,
not really anyone.
I think Rodgers makes a lot of sense at this point. We're getting him 30 picks past ADP and his stack, and we have the Keon bring back.
Quarterbacks do add third quarterbacks do add way more points than you think.
Yeah, and we're just got to win the league first and foremost.
Well, the thing about the Knicks May week 14 is that they're a perfect pairing with Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, they're because don't get me wrong, I'm very excited about Drake May. There are definitely going to be some weeks this dude scores 7.2 underdog points. Don't get me wrong, there are going to be some rough Drake May weeks.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's going to throw interceptions. He's going to take sacks. He doesn't take sacks at a crazy high rate. He's not like Jaden Daniels in a sack taking, but it's not like he avoids them all the time either. So there's gonna be some down weeks for sure. And I mean, the offensive line is just so bad. So in addition to his rookie growing pains, the double-edged sword, right? Like the offensive line is bad. He's gonna run a little bit more because the offensive line is also gonna create some problems. So yeah,
that's true.
I agree. May. I'm doing a lot 3 quarterback builds with May now. He's just like late season.
I do.
Supercharges a team.
I do that. I mean, I would do more elite quarterback builds with him if he didn't have that week 14 bye because he's got the same bye as Lamar and he's got the same bye as Richardson, which is just that's so annoying. Why would the NFL do that to us? It's
so
super,
annoying.
super
Stroud
annoying.
too. He would pair so well with Stroud.
Yeah. Oh, I would do a lot of it because it's even on that side of the board too. You get locked out of Caleb and stuff. Yeah. Just annoying. Now, I think the best remaining Chief is sadly a running back. What do you think about that? I mean, I think we can just take 2 more wide receivers. I've got no issue with it. But if we want to take another Chief, I think the best one left is a running back.
I agree. I think we at least push it to the 18th. Right. The receiver's the bigger need. I would say tight end is honestly a bigger need than receiver as well, or than running back. I mean,
I don't know. I don't know if I could look myself in the face if we did a 3-5-7-3 in the big dog. We just really need to get to the final.
We do though.
We do. So what's your favorite 18th round Pats wide receiver? There are 4 to pick from. Which one do you take?
Bourne at this point because Baker blew it.
Yeah, that doesn't feel very good.
I think Jonnu's the best pick here. I know
I kind of like Malik Washington though. I think I'm more Malik Washington than Jonnu Smith, actually.
Do you want to take Steele then?
I might. Carson Steele and a big dog is proving that you've got heart.
Yes, it seriously is.
What if Gen Z Mike Allstott catching?
Okay,
two
so there goes
touchdowns?
Jonnu.
Okay.
None of these receivers really jump out to me as like,
No, like Malik Washington would be my he's my current round 18 click.
Honestly, can we do Mac Hollins?
I like Malik Washington better than Mac Hollins.
But we got the bring back with
we already have a bring back. We already have Keon Coleman.
Yeah, but
Keon Coleman.
This is negative correlation to make sure we get the X.
Keon Coleman and Mac Hollins are negatively correlated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're just making sure, but
oh, so we're
Keon
just
Coleman
trying,
is our wide receiver 4.
So we're just trying to handcuff.
We're handcuffing the Bills X receiver.
How
much does the chat hate this? Let me see.
They hate the Steele pick more. They were
well. We were always drafting Steele. Okay, so
yeah. Kerrane, I wasn't even gonna draft Steele until I saw Kerrane tweet that he was gonna draft Steele. You would think that I would be the one being like, Pat, you got to get some of this. You got to get some of this Chiefs fullback. And then I was like, wait, no.
This is some fantasy Ouija board shit where we're all just kind of talking ourselves into it.
Malik Washington with like McDaniel just said,
oh, he's gone, man.
All right, well, he's gone. All right.
I think we handcuff.
I think we do Bourne or Osborne.
All right, we can do Bourne.
Yeah. Bourne kind of fits. Well, Osborne actually might be the better one here. Because we've only got one rookie. So now whichever one you want.
Well, we have Mike Williams coming off injury as well. So that's where.
Yeah, let's do Bourne or Osborne. Up to you.
I think Bourne.
Sure.
I'm not an Osborne guy. All right, so there it is.
The reason people are asking why it's not Tyquan, the reason why it's not Tyquan is Pat and I are very familiar with Tyquan's game.
Yeah,
which is that he's gonna find a reason to get on that bench real
yeah,
quick.
he likes the bench.
Like
the heated benches are his favorite.
I mean, weirdly, he probably is awesome in practice because he's so fast.
Yeah,
like in practice, like Alex Van Pelt and Barrett Mayo get in, and they're like, why was Bill not playing this guy? And then you get him in a game and you're like, oh, it's very obvious why he's not playing.
All right. You want to recap the team? I got to go to the bathroom really badly, but we'll recap and then get out of here.
I can't see the entire board, but you can go pee and I can recap. All right. We did the Patrick Mahomes thing. We did something that you guys probably are going to disagree with. We did Rashee Rice early, and then we did Mahomes coming back around. You're on mute.
I'm gonna stay here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. The guy. That's how much he cares about you. I feel very good about this. I mean, we basically just flip flop Maye and Rodgers as ADP. So cost wise, it doesn't even matter. We did do a 6 running back room starting out with Bijan, Warren, Moss, Benson, Vidal, and
Steele. That's because we have
3 zeros.
5 backup running backs.
I was gonna say we've got 3 zeros in Benson, Vidal, and Steele, and some 0.5s in Benson and in Jalen Warren, Rodgers, and Mike Williams with a Keon Coleman bring back. I mean, people are mad we took 3 quarterbacks, but I think it's fine.
I think it's fine. I mean, Mahomes, I just talked about this on Pete's stream earlier this morning. Like, Mahomes is, he gets a lot of his points through the air. And so it's not, as far as elites go, I don't mind having a third guy with him. Again,
I just think
win the league,
3 quarterback on average adds more points than the third tight end, because at least quarterbacks score points. Third tight ends just do not score. They just every time I see a new guy who I ran a sim, I did X, Y, and Z, and they do the analysis on tight ends, and they're like, they all suck. No one scores any points. They're all the same. Yeah. People are again not getting the Rashee Rice vibe. I mean, Kerrane and I are just believers. Like, we just think Rashee Rice is good at football. If you don't think Rashee Rice is good at football, then you're going to disagree. So
yeah. You want to see this? If you discerning viewers will note, I have this auto. I slept through a big dog.
No,
we want to see it. It's so frustrating.
That's why you have to set. That's why you have to set the positional limits, Pat.
4 quarterbacks. It has all these players I like on it. It's just a horrible team. This team didn't come together.
You caught the Jahan Dotson falling knife.
Yeah, just somehow I have a stack with Richardson and Pittman.
You getting Pittman is actually a great bit.
It's a great bit. I've got the stack of Houston and Stroud. Or Diggs and Stroud. The
Houston what if this is your team that gets through to the we get to week 17? You drafted 950 teams, and your big dog that auto drafted while you were sleeping is the team that's in the finals.
It's like one thing where if you like Daniel Raz has this team that he auto drafted, like it was like the nuts, and then he realized by the late rounds what was happening, and he saved it, and so it's actually just like a sick team. But he got like 5 picks on it. I can't even. There's nothing to say. Like I don't even have that. This is just.
I mean, discerning viewers also. I've gotten pings in your Discord and in my Discord and in the YouTube chat that people are mad at my auto drafted.
The Sidekick doesn't auto draft for you, so this is in some ways it is an advertisement to the Sidekick because that was Sidekick free.
I'm auto drafting mini Schnauzer teams right now, and people are saying that the teams are bad. To which I say, what if auto drafting 20 mini Schnauzers while drafting a big dog with Pat Kerrane on stream is what I need to win $10,000 on underdog this year?
All right, let's get out of here. Davis, what's your streaming schedule this week?
Tomorrow I'm going live at 11 a.m. Central Time with Rich. I've got to be done streaming by 2:45 p.m. Central Time because I got to take my dogs to the vet. Then I'm going to stream every day this week. I'm streaming every day until the season starts. You got any time you want to hop on the stream this week? You got an open hour in your schedule?
Sure. Yeah, but later in the week. I think I got to write up the legendary running back series, which I'll have out this week. So I'm blocking off tomorrow and some of Wednesday to finish that up. But yeah, speaking of Sidekick, we hopefully will have you streaming the Sidekick on your stuff.
Yeah. Have Sacrilegious or Shady or whoever send me the extension that I need, and I will have it up and running tomorrow.
Beautiful. All right, there you go. We'll see you guys here for Ship Chasing. Ton of content for you this week. Take it easy. And I guess I'll play the outro music.